Well, well, well.
Welcome
Welcome
to
to
Marriage
Marriage
Made
Made
for
for Two.
Two.
Hey, man, my name is Gary Allen. This is my lovely wife, Linda Allen, and we welcome you to our Marriage Made for Two session on
Welcome.
tonight.
Welcome.
And we thank God for our listening live audience.
Yes,
Praise
thank God
God.
for our listening live audience.
Amen.
And
God
I
is good.
and I also want to say if you didn't get a chance to watch last week with Elder Raymond and
Tanisha.
Tanisha Sharp, that was excellent. Go back and watch that. I think they were talking about having those uh, difficult conversations. So
Oh, yeah.
it was they were very transparent, and I believe that that will be a blessing to you and your family.
That's what a lot of people avoid difficult
Difficult
conversation.
conversations that we need to have.
Amen.
Yes. Tonight we're going to talk about balance,
Oh, yeah.
marriage, and family.
Marriage, family, work,
Children,
career, school,
children.
children.
Don't forget the
Because
children.
you think about it, I was actually in school
Mhm.
at night and during the day and working,
Mhm.
right? And you were at home
Doing all the work.
doing all the work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Amen. While I was at school, just sitting there, wasn't doing nothing at work. Just sitting
Yeah, yeah. Sneaking out playing golf in
there. Yeah, I
between.
was in between
Yeah, I
sessions.
know,
I
I
did.
know, I know.
I had to find a work balance, the school balance.
Yes.
Amen. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. You know, number one, when you have two career oriented spouses working together,
Mhm.
then you add kids to the mix.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And
It's a
for
lot.
some, the marriage get put on the back burner.
Hmm.
They're so busy because the kids need you,
Right.
and there's so many other needs, and we have to be intentional. We have to be intentional about scheduling those dates. And some people said I fell out of love. You didn't necessarily, I don't think, fell out of
Feel like
love.
love.
You just
Yeah.
you just stop communicating, stop putting that time in, and so
You know what I call it? I call it you bought into the distraction. Can y'all
Sure.
hear me okay? You
Mhm.
bought into the distraction because
Yes.
you know what, and we lose focus.
we lose
We
focus.
lose focus, and
Yeah.
next thing you know, you look back and you're like, what happened?
What happened?
You
And,
lost
and
focus.
sometimes there is resentment,
Hmm.
especially when the kids are little. There could be resentment, especially toward the male, because they feel like all the time the kids get priority. So I think we did it, including we
When you
had
say that, you
ministry.
mean the wife feels resentment or the kids feel resentment?
No, I said the husband
Right.
sometimes feel resentment when the kids are new on the scene and they feel that
Oh,
they're taking their time away
all the
from
time.
from their
Yes.
spouse.
Yes. Yes.
And sometimes women, we sometimes go a little bit overboard with our kids, and especially when they're new.
Yeah.
We're
You
new
nurturing.
moms,
New
so we're
mom.
nurturing and we're
Oh yeah.
there all the time, and we want
And we don't
to
know what
we
to
let
do.
them get into bed with us.
Yep.
Some kids stay there for years, so
Get them out that bed. Don't it?
so that can be a problem. So
Mhm.
I think one thing I would say is be intentional.
Right.
Be intentional. A lot of times we're waiting for time to have space in our calendar. We have to create it.
That's true.
Hmm.
Like my son, I think about my son. He was laying in the bed, just kind of pushed me on out the way. I'm like, okay, that's your last time being in this bed. You got to go.
So
Amen.
with that being said, if you have small kids, you need to have boundaries.
Yes.
You need to have boundaries. You need to have a set boundaries with your kids being in the bed, sleeping with you every night. Even if they're 5 and 6 now, they're still. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh Lord.
But there are a lot of kids
Oh.
that get up and go get in their parents' bed at night. So yeah, and so that can
Really?
definitely hinder, um, the love life. So we have to have those boundaries. If you're a young couple, you want to set those boundaries. We know you love your baby, but you cannot forget
You
to
gotta
nurture
say-
your marriage.
Yeah, and plus, what are you doing to that? Well, we don't understand all the psychology of it. I'm not a psychologist, but one of the things, I mean, Mariah was the first one we dealt with, of course, first child,
Hmm.
and we put
Who
her
is
in the
29
bed.
today?
She's
Woo, woo.
29 today. Happy birthday! But we put her on a regiment. She knew you know,
I mean, he threw her out of our bed so quick. I'm just
yeah,
playing.
I did.
Poor little baby.
Poor
She
little
was
baby, and
this
she
big in this
cried.
big old bed. She was so
Yeah,
little.
she cried for the whole week. You know, we put her in the bed about what 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
She
she cried.
cried for
Yeah.
that whole week.
But that's okay. They have to get used to a
But she got
schedule.
used to it, and guess what? She got on that
She got
schedule.
on the
The
schedule.
only thing I had to battle in the middle of the night was thumb sucking. You know, I said,
Yeah.
no, we're gonna put that sock on. I ain't paying for no braces. You know. So I was adamant about that.
So you got to create boundaries. When we talk about balance, you got to
Mhm.
have boundaries. Even when they're small kids, you got to set boundaries. They will live.
Yeah.
We know that we are to nurture our kids, but you don't want to set patterns that you cannot continue with.
Yeah.
You know, so at some point, especially when they're babies, you want to make sure that they have their own bed, and that you want to intentionally do things for your spouse, even though you
Right.
may be, because I know we have couples that are watching. We may have someone that have small kids, maybe just had a baby or whatever. You know, you
Yeah,
want
this
to
can help
make
you out.
sure that you're setting those boundaries because it can go downhill from there. Okay. So we want to set boundaries, and not only with kids as well as your older kids. You know, there needs to be a schedule. You know, I was in a mode with my kids. You know, my son grew up and I didn't notice it. He was 5 and 6, and I still was treating him kind of like uh,
2 and 3.
a toddler. So, which means I didn't really give him any responsibility. And it took Mariah, who's been grown all her life,
All
to tell me, Mama, he can do something. He's not a baby, and
You can
that's
watch this.
he can do this and
They
he
can
can
take
do
out the
that.
trash.
Yes. And I was like, you know what? You're right. You know, sometimes our kids grow, but we don't grow with them.
Mhm.
So, you know, we have to make sure that even as our kids are getting older, give them responsibilities. That's the best thing you can do as a parent is teach them how to grow up. You know, I was at a patient's house today and I noticed all the kids were in the home and they were 5 on up, probably to about 12, and yet mom is struggling to carry all the groceries in by herself. And I'm like, why don't you ask these kids to help you? So parents, you know, we need to give our kids responsibilities. My husband used to say, "What in other third world countries, they got kids that are how old
Boy,
working?"
they 5 years old out there. A toddler out there with a stick telling a cow which way to go. And I'm like, wait a minute now, what's wrong with this picture? We got 2 3-year-olds. Hey man, we won't even let them out the house. They kids out there tending sheep and cows and feeding livestock. I said, what's wrong with you? But see, it's a cultural
That's a
thing.
cultural thing.
And
yeah.
we have grown really kind of soft in our culture. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this about marriage and balancing family.
Uh-huh.
You know, you did such a fantastic job that you made sure, even though I was in school,
Mhm.
but I know when it came time to graduate, you said you're going to graduate this year, right? This
Uh-huh.
97. That one of the beautiful things about it is every semester
Mhm.
or in
Mhm.
between semester,
Mhm.
we would take a marriage break. Okay.
Mhm.
We would take that, drop the kids off, Mariah at the time,
Mhm.
and go on vacation, just me and you. And
Mhm.
what that did was really refresh. It brought the balance back into the relationship.
Yes.
And it made us. In fact, it brought us closer together.
Mhm.
Because we didn't lose focus. We didn't get, how you say, distracted in the distraction.
Mhm.
That God blessed us and helped us to stay focused during all that whole season.
Mhm.
So the kids, even growing up after Gary came in 98, we already had a routine in place.
Mhm.
Now, he did stay in the bed a little longer than I would like them to have stayed in the bed. But, especially at one night, I kind of rolled over and, there he is under me, and he looking there smiling, with a bottle hanging out his mouth. But the thing about it is, I mean, there was a balance, and through that, I ain't gonna say rigid scheduling, but through the scheduling,
You gotta have something to
know,
look forward
yeah,
to.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was
Mhm.
just that was the in between time because
Yes.
between having to study, focus on work. I was a project manager doing work, going to school. In fact, I was in school. Check this out, y'all. I was going to George Washington University during the day, right? Working. This was working during the day, and the company they suitcased George Washington University in for us to take project management class. So I was in the master's program for that, and then still working projects. Okay. Then after that, I would go to school at night. Monday, what was it? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Is it Tuesday? It was 3 nights a week. And you're talking about having to balance. Who used that plate thing before? Somebody used the plates where you got all the plates on the stick and you're balancing. We really had to become expert with our scheduling. And just like you're saying, yeah, I had a break. Sometimes I get off a little early and I go, man, I say, I got time to play 9 holes. And I run out there and play 9 holes, this stuff, and run into class sweat, And the guy was like, man, I know where you been. I say, oh yeah, got to get it in. But it's just one of those things where scheduling became so important because school was 7 to 9, each one of those nights.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That was
Oh,
tough. Yeah. I think we can do anything as long as it's not forever.
that's right.
As long as long as you know that there's an expiration date. As a couple, you can do. Once you set your mind, it makes it easier because it's not forever. Frustration comes in when you think it's going to be forever and things are not going to change. So even when you are balanced and you got to think of the goals, even though we're in the Dave Ramsey class, Sister Jennifer,
Oh, yeah.
you got to see yourself. I'm debt free.
Yes. Oh, yeah,
You have to see the other side. And I think looking at the benefits, because those things that you're doing, they're going to produce something. You're going to be able to be, and I could be proud whenever I saw him walk across the stage, whenever he completed his degree. So there's some things we just have to hang in there and realize that it's not forever. And that kind of helps with the balancing act. And it's good to work hard, but play harder. Even though that you should do this as singles too. There should be some things that you say, okay, celebrate after those victories.
And don't be afraid, especially when you're single, to set some rigid goals.
Yeah, definitely.
Everything can't be easy. You know what I'm saying? I set some real, rigid goals for myself when I was single. And when I met those goals, basically I found myself setting higher goals. And it's like the more, I ain't gonna say tougher the goal, or the higher the challenge was, because one of the things the enemy, how the enemy talks. Oh, you work with AT&T, you don't need your degree. I said, no, I don't need my degree because the Lord opened doors. I said, but I came down here to get my degree. Not getting my degree for me, I'm getting it for my kids. But the Lord used that also to open doors. So many different opportunities. But the problem, I'm gonna say the problem, but the opportunity that came up when we face our problems or challenges, of time management, for example, when it comes to your kids, these things are so important that when it comes to managing your time, you got to make sure you have your wife or your husband buy in. Y'all know what that means, right? Y'all gotta get them to come into an agreement to what you have set. Okay. When you start having kids and you start adding kids to the mix, you got to have an agreement how we're going to schedule their time and their day, especially when both of us, or I get home, or when you get home.
Yeah, you have to have a
so
system.
we have to
Teamwork.
have a working system.
Teamwork.
Teamwork, because we're working together. And
Woo!
oftentimes what we find out is, we get selfish with our times because we have not scheduled our time. It's kind of what Dave Ramsey say about every dollar counts. You have to assign every dollar. You got to have an assignment for every dollar.
And you need to have assignment for your time.
You have to have an assignment for your
time. And you don't necessarily, I think women, especially, we get overwhelmed. I'm not saying men don't, but from a woman's point of view, I know sometimes it's easy to get overwhelmed because you feel like actually the home is your domain, you know. And I have learned that I just have to supervise. I have to be the administrator, but I don't have to do everything.
Right.
So you don't have to do everything as long as you can assign, you know, there's things that, you know, that you can assign, that you can have other people. It's okay to have other people help you. And let me say this too. It's okay to let the male do it. And if they only do it half as good as you, at least it's half done. Yeah.
Hey, look, I endorse that message.
Because sometimes as women, I'll do it. They're not gonna do it right. You
and sometimes we'll do it half just it's for you to say that.
And that's right, so that they can get off the hook. Amen. So my thing is this, you know, they might not be perfect, but at least it's done. And so, or you know, better than not being done at all. Okay. So, you know, delegate even the children, give them some responsibilities. When you are overwhelmed, sometimes something just, and kids, I mean, y'all, our kids are brilliant.
Ooh.
These little kids can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And these teenagers, they can do as much as you can. I mean, you know, my generation, we had to work for everything. I mean, I asked my grandmama for $20, was it $10 for my school pictures? I had to clean her whole house, vacuum her floor, mop her kitchen. I earned her whole, and I was probably 11, you know. So, and she told me, she said, no, you got to take everything off the dresser. Don't wipe around, take it, wipe, you know. And what did that do? Not only that taught me how to work. And it taught me that the value of $1. So it's not going to hurt your kids to work. You need to teach them how to fold clothes, not ball them up.
And let me tell y'all something. That work ethic has carried on to the house now. I never forget, somebody came in the house. They were using our house, you know, on Braddock. They were using it as a show house.
Oh.
And believe me, if you were the last one out that house, okay, and how she saw it, if she left before you, it better be like that when she come home, like mama.
I am not that bad.
Ooh-wee. And so the guy came into the house and he said, is this what they call it? A model? He said, this a model home?
That was before we had kids. That
was before we had kids. That is true. Because I was using in my closet, I had my coats, my shirts, my pants, and everything. All you know. Now it's like coats, shirts, coats. Okay, where's my sport coat? But you know, there was a lot of, you know, your cleaning compared to mine. You're like you know,
you clean really good. You were in the military.
I do, but you know, you like the boot camp clean. You know. You like that boot camp clean.
But the thing is, when you're trying to balance, sometimes you have to release perfection.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to release perfection and just, you know what I'm saying?
I do.
Sometimes, because if you have a lot going on and we're pulling everybody in to help, you know, we have to release perfection and just say, you know what, we're just going to work with what we have.
Yep.
And make, as long as it works for you as a family.
And I think, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You don't want to make everybody so frustrated that they don't want to do anything.
Right.
Well, I'm not going to do it right. You're going to redo it anyway. That was the kid's excuse. Yeah. You're going to redo it anyway. So why should I even do it? So, you know, we want to make sure when you're balancing, you just want to, you know, hold everything together. Another thing about time management, one thing that I said that the Lord had to correct me on, how many of you said, I don't have enough time? And he said, you don't have a time around your schedule. Sometimes you got to move some stuff in your schedule. I said, no, that is true. Well, when you look at your schedule and you know how you do when you're getting your hair done and they have the appointments, you need to have an appointment book where you can see. And I guarantee you, we have more time in our
You have more
schedule
time.
than we realize.
And and you were talking about balancing time and bringing others in
To help.
to help, and that's what once you budget, we were able during that period of time. You know what I mean? Because we used I used to be a pain boy. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, like my whole Saturday was spent cleaning the house. But one of the things that we did,
Let's correct that.
the whole Saturday
Your Saturday was spent in the room watching the football game
or the basketball
and pulling
game, yeah.
everything out, saying that you were cleaning. I mean,
I did pull everything out. I had to, everything. Had
He
to
would
be
pull
ordered.
everything out and then wouldn't put it back, and I'm like, you can't do
Yeah.
that. You can't.
I was
Start-
cleaning
start-
out all the drawers.
Start
Yeah.
out strong.
I was organizing the room and taking breaks in between, Jesse. You know what I'm saying?
And it took forever.
So,
So,
but what the best thing that happened, like on that Friday, we start bringing a cleaning crew in on Friday.
cleaning
And
lady.
we budgeted, we cleaned, the house was clean. So therefore, I didn't have to spend all day, y'all, in my bedroom cleaning up my room.
And even
or
for the
cleaning-
man, he may want to pay for somebody to do the grass,
Yeah.
or do the yard.
Yeah.
But you find
You
whatever
can get that time back.
find whatever
Yeah.
works for you. But I would say, when we're looking at balance, as we said before, marriage, you have to be intentional.
Mhm.
You have to be intentional. You have to put it on the calendar that even if you can't get together for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, you need to have a date set because, and this is singles too. You need to have your time for yourself, things that you want to do. Because if you don't schedule your time, somebody else will.
Yeah.
Somebody
That's
else
true.
is going to say, "Oh, can you take me?" Or I have something on the calendar.
Especially the grandparents.
And make sure that you be intentional about your marriage.
Mhm.
Just because you have kids and you have other things going on, do not put your spouse on the back burner. Do not allow, don't look and say we haven't been anywhere in 6 months.
You know what the Bible says, a false balance.
Right.
Sometimes we can have a false balance in marriage.
Mhm.
That's why things are not. That's why we stay in
Mhm.
disagreement all the time.
Mhm.
So we have to correct the balance.
You have to correct the
We
balance.
got to, y'all.
And
We got to
even-
correct the balance.
And even if you're busy in the church,
Mhm.
as I said, don't allow, I didn't say God, I said ministry.
Yeah.
Don't allow ministry to cause you to get a divorce.
Right.
You need to have a balance. If both of you work in the ministry, you still need to have time. And
Mhm.
we're pastors and we're saying this because we're pro marriage.
Yeah.
I mean, a healthy family makes a healthy church.
Mhm.
And so there may be some times that you guys look at the schedule now and plan your getaways.
Right.
People get burnt out because they're in church and they're working and they don't plan. And when they get ready to go out of town, it's anniversary, it's something big going on. And you say, "Oh, I gotta wait. But if you go ahead and look at your calendar now and go ahead and start planning and budgeting your getaways. Another thing as far as balance, sometimes we spend our money on things we really don't care about. And if we let that go, then we will have time to go those trips that we really want to go on. People say, "Oh, I want to take this trip." All you got to do is save. If you save your McDonald's money, which is a lot of money right now,
Fast.
and your eating out money and your Starbucks money, which is a lot of money right now. I bought one dish and now they're adding fees on your to-go orders. $25 for one meal. I said, what in the world did I get? I just got one little pasta dish to go. So we say that we can't afford it. I want to say this. We say that we can't afford it. But however, your spouse see you bringing other things in. Okay. So that's showing your spouse, okay, other things are more important than us. You saying, I can't afford to take you out. I can't afford to do this, but we see other things coming in for the car, tires and whatever, rims.
I said to fly.
Not my husband, but I'm just saying. Or the lady, maybe you're coming in with dresses that you're hiding and shoes. If we are strategic about planning, we can take a nice trip. We can do things, we can budget. So again, it's all about balance. Whatever is important to us, we need to plan for.
And as you said, scheduling things going on at church or whatever you might be a part of, scheduling is so important. And that's why, when I worked on the tape ministry, I had a schedule.
Media team, honey.
Tape ministry, yeah, it was years ago, years and years ago. I did. I had a schedule, and and I told one guy, I said, you work on the tape ministry every Sunday. You up here?
My husband, I'm gonna sit with my wife.
I
I'm
said,
gonna
I'm
sit with
going
my
to sit
wife.
my
My
wife.
wife.
Yeah,
And that's important. That's
but
very
here's the
important.
thing.
Balance.
The balance, that guy didn't have balance in his marriage, and they ended up getting a divorce.
Right. So you need to sit with
check
your
this out.
wife or
Yeah.
your husband. You need to
So
have that time as
Later
well.
on, he came to me and said, "You know what? I should have heeded your advice. Spent more time with my wife because he didn't have balance. He didn't have kids. That's the whole thing got me. I said they were out of balance,
Yeah.
not just in church, but at home.
Well, it actually trickles down. If you don't have balance in one area, if you're not careful, it'll begin to go to other areas
Yeah.
of your life. That's why we have to.
And here's the thing: I believe we in the church, sometimes people get offended, especially when you start walking in the gift of discernment and start making, how you say, good advice, wise counsel. Say, look, how you and the wife doing? How you and the husband doing?
And yeah.
Yeah, and that's not a how you say a way to be nosy, but how can I pray for you?
And
letting people know you're
somebody
caring.
you trust and somebody
Mhm.
that care about
Yes.
you. But balance, as you said, balance even is something as we may think is small as in ministry.
It's major.
You should be able to sit with your family at some point.
Because you think about
Or work together in ministry
you
or
think
whatever.
about this. You're busy in your career. I'm busy in my career. We have a business that we're running, right? Other family members got a business that they're running, and we also pastor. Okay, we have Marriage Made for Two, right? We have other responsibilities pertaining to the church outside of Word of God Christian Center. So we are extremely busy.
And we have to learn the word no too.
Yeah. However,
yeah.
we manage time effectively, very effectively, where we're not overrun.
Yeah. And we have to learn the
Yeah.
word no. We have to learn the word no in your family. Sometimes we look over and see what the Joneses are doing.
Mhm.
You can't really worry about the Joneses. You have to worry
Yeah.
about what's going on in your house. And so you have to do what works for you, and don't allow everybody to pull you in to everything. I believe anything will work if you devote your time to it.
Yeah.
And people are pushing stuff that work because they've dedicated, but that doesn't mean that it's my season to do that. So even in our balance, we have to pray about stuff.
Mhm.
You can't be pulled to everything that everybody's doing. All these, there's nothing wrong with it, and it works for some people, but it may not be your season. So we have to pray about certain things and find out, and I don't really feel that as I get more mature,
I like how you said
you
didn't say older.
yeah, more mature. I don't feel like I have to be at everything. I'm just more, time, like they say, time is the new currency. It really is. We never get it back. So, you really have to be careful what you dedicate your time to. I just don't have time to do stuff just to save face with people. I'm sorry. I'll send you a donation or whatever. I can't make it. I ain't even, really. It is what it is. So, that's very important too in your marriage is to, and in the balancing, as we said earlier, check in with your spouse. How am I doing? How am I doing?
And
here's
a good thing. We tell each
Oh
other
yeah.
how we doing.
Oh yeah, I have no problem with
Yeah, I don't either. So, and that's, you think about it. That's what makes a successful man. Being able to deal with challenges, things that will throw your marriage.
that.
You
Yeah. And
know,
sometimes you do. You have to pull away from the busyness.
yes.
Maybe do something spontaneous. Take a day off of work. Take a
All
day
right,
off
so
of
I'm taking
work
the rest of
and
the week off. All
take a day
right.
off of work. Go to the beach. And if you, as the singles as well, you start now. Start now. Utilizing your time. Maximize where you are. Go back to school. I mean, do what you can do.
Uh,
So many times, as singles, we want to do stuff once we get married. I've heard people all the time. They get married to say, I'm ready to get another degree. God, what you do all that singleness?
all
Time to
right.
have babies now and take care of your husband.
I got to go back. I'm sorry. I won't be taking the rest of the week off. It's going to be in the 50s at Myrtle Beach. Can't play golf in rain, so I will be at work the rest of the week. So let's get busy, right? But yeah, I love marriage.
Yeah.
I don't know about everybody else, but I thank God, for giving us wisdom to have balance.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
if we do get off a balance, I mean, if
hmm
if it does, then you just have to bring alignment to it. And honestly, it's not like you balancing and you got it. No, it has to be tweaked,
yeah,
every day.
every day.
And to make
But
sure.
that's like our spiritual walk. I mean, we can be out of balance with that. You
Yeah.
know, not getting the daily, how you say, influx of the word or intake of
Hmm.
the word. I mean, these things will cause you to be off balance. If I'm off balance with God,
Everything.
everything else in my life can be off balance.
Mhm.
So, and that's why I really believe that we keep that foundation right with Christ. That's what the word says, Matthew 6:30. Seek ye first the
Mhm.
kingdom of God and His righteousness. Then all these other things, because
Mhm.
God keeps us. He really keeps us focused.
He does. He
He
does.
really
He,
keeps us
he
focused.
keeps us focused. And so I think that this is to be intentional.
Yeah,
Plan something even this week.
really.
Yeah, plan something this week. Do a lunch or do something spontaneous this week. I think one misconception that we have as far as balance, we we think it has to be something big. We think it has to be something out there. I have learned you have to work whatever you're
Hmm.
with, whatever you
Yeah,
have. Work
whatever
with,
you have, right.
whether it's doing lunch at home, whether it's doing stuff, creating an atmosphere in your home, going to the do something. Doesn't have to be anything big. Do
Mm-mm.
something spontaneous, and utilize the time that you have. Because sometimes, because we can't do anything big, we won't do anything at all.
Right. Get a puppy. No, you want something to add?
Not me.
Okay, that's not balanced for me. I was looking at my neighbors; they was out playing with their little puppy, and I said, "I
No,
would, as bad
no,
as I want one, that would not help me out with my balance.
no, nope, nope.
It's too much." And that's the thing; you got to be discerning enough to know what adds balance and what takes balance away.
That's right.
And I
That's
like
right.
what you said because, yeah, I mean, beings, I found one of those gift certificates someplace. I said, okay, let's see what take the like you're doing this weekend, right? I might ask you out on a date Friday
Okay.
night. See what
I
happens.
might say yes.
I say, yeah. So I mean, balance.
Yeah.
That is so important. Balance in life, you know,
Yes.
balance in
So
your life.
as we're ending,
Hmm.
we hope that this has been food for thought. When is the last time you've done something for your spouse? When is the last time you've been intentional about scheduling a date or scheduling time away?
Yeah,
If you are too busy to get away with your spouse or have time, you are too busy.
right.
So, and something is out of balance. And don't use God's name. You working for the Lord. No, 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 no. Family is first. So create that time for you and your spouse. Be intentional about spending time with your spouse because when the children leave, it's gonna be you two.
You too. I'm enjoying myself.
And you don't want to be strangers.
Now, I'm gonna put out a challenge. And I always say, journal your journey, right? Get a schedule book. First, here's what we're going to do for those still with young kids.
Mhm.
You want to make sure your kids are living a balanced life, right?
Mm.
Okay. Because if the kids are not balanced, the marriage, you'll never be balanced. So let's help these kids get balanced,
Mhm.
right? Because soon enough, they're going to be adults and they're going to carry that same imbalance into their adulthood, into their children. So make sure your children are balanced. What does that mean? I mean, I love putting our kids on the schedule. As soon as you put them to bed, they just knew that's it. Don't get up, ask for nothing, you sleep. Seriously. And Mariah was, man, I tell you, when she got on that regiment, that just
Made life a lot easier.
made life a lot easier. Give us time to
Get
talk,
stuff done.
communicate,
Yeah.
get stuff done.
Yeah.
She just knew, but it was tough getting there.
Yeah.
It was a challenge because
Anytime you try to bring balance,
yeah,
it
it's
can be
tough.
tough. Yeah.
But like I say, face your challenges head on. If you want that piece on the other side of the imbalance, you're going to have to battle through some pain. So just work through it. You may have to get up a little earlier in the morning to schedule your day. Lay your stuff out, okay, at night. Make sure, I was up this morning folding clothes, praise God. And I was 2 minutes late for the prayer call. Bless you, men. Thank you. But I was folding clothes, putting them tiles up, because teamwork make the dream work.
It does.
And that's how we bring balance to our marriage, working as a team. So the challenge is to make sure your children are balanced, to make sure you're balanced this week. Don't say I'll do it next week. No, start today. Start tonight. Okay. Bringing balance to your life, bringing balance to your children, and bringing balance to your marriage. And singles, bringing balance to your personal life. That's it. All I got today.
Good. Well, God bless you guys. We'll see you next Wednesday for Marriage Made for Two. And we want to encourage you to share if it's been a blessing to you. God bless you.
Becoming one. God bless you all. We love you. Take care. Amen.